Good morning, everyone. Jeff Schmidt, senior writer, and I'd like to introduce you to our online webinar here to discuss with 4 alumni some of the benefits of taking an online MBA and learning a lot about their experiences and some of the best practices they have. I have 3 individuals here. I'd like you, Justina, maybe start out and all 3 of you maybe share a little bit about who you are, what school you went to, and what you're currently doing, and maybe a fun fact about yourself. Justina?
Sure. Hi, Jeff. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really happy to be part of this webinar. So my name is Justina. I am originally from Lithuania, and currently I live and work in Palma de Mallorca in Spain. I am studying a global online MBA at ESMT Berlin. And my past experience would be, well, I spent 12 years living and working in London, where I held different roles from sales, like you were, Jeff, actually saying in our pre-meeting. I also held different roles, sales, paralegal, marketing roles in different companies, such as Visa Europe and AstraZeneca, to name a few. Currently, I work as an account manager at Medea. We are a subsidiary of International SOS, and we provide medical assistance to commercial aviation and business aviation, as well as luxury yachts. I am part of a luxury yacht team, and this is the reason why I'm actually in Palma de Mallorca.
Thank you.
And the fun fact about myself would be that even though I am doing MBA, I actually do write poetry. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is it? I did not catch how to pronounce your name. Seima, or is it Saima?
Yeah, you got it right. Saima.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Saima.
Sure. So I'm Saima Bukhari. I am originally Indian, but I'm born and raised in Doha, Qatar. My accent can be very confusing to most people, so don't be fooled. I'll let you guess at the end where I picked that up from. I started my entrepreneurial venture or my journey when I was 21. So when I was still doing my undergrad degree. I've recently, well, I'm still at the tail end of finishing my MBA. So my journey has been in doing startups within fitness and nutrition industry. And in the past 1 year, I've been looking after my family business as well, which is in manufacturing for really interesting stuff in building construction, materials, and insulation and waterproofing. So quite a manned space that I've entered. A fun fact about myself would be that I love adventure sports. So I've done, bungee jumping and skydiving, and hope to do some more once travels become a little easier.
Awesome. What about you, Sarvi?
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarvi Ahmadi, and I'm based out of Toronto, Canada. And I studied my MBA at Imperial College of London. I did global online MBA. And first of all, Justina, if you ever need anyone to test some of those yachts, you can count on me. I'll be there, just doing it for a friend. But yeah, I studied, my background in terms of education is, as we were talking about it, I've done a lot of different things. I've done life sciences, and from there I've done civil engineering, work in construction industry. So Saima, I kind of relate to you in terms of the industry that you're in right now. And then I pivoted from there and worked at Capital One, so working banking industry and in technology there for 7 years. And that's where I actually did my part-time MBA while I was working there. Right now, for the past 2 years, after I finished my MBA, I joined a company here, a Canadian company called Finance It. So we are the leaders in providing point of sale financing to Canadian market. The portfolio I'm working on, we're actually providing SaaS softwares and different solutions on the technology side within the home improvement industry, within the North America and South America. And yeah, I think the fun fact is really my education and my work experience of working in hospitals and construction sites, and now working with a great team, the technology sites.
Thank you very much. All of you are very accomplished and versatile professionals, and you were that long before you started your MBA programs. sometimes people always ask themselves, why should I do an MBA? What was kind of the impetus that made you decide that you needed to do an MBA? And also maybe why was the online format so attractive to you? Who'd like to start? Justina?
Sure, I'll go again. Well, for me, doing the MBA first and foremost is to learn. So I really wanted to jump in now when the world is changing. As you will agree, COVID has changed us, and one actually of the reasons why I did decide to do the online MBA is because, I've been working virtually for the last 2 years. Our meetings are online. I speak to clients online. I just feel like I live in a virtual world. So, and actually, as I was preparing for this session, I was thinking that maybe, online MBA is becoming the new full-time. It's really, it's not like an additional thing anymore. It is part of our life. And I do feel like even though it is online, it does feel like a full-time. So yeah, and I really do not regret this decision. I really feel like I'm doing full-time, but being online.
Thank you. And, well, how about yourself, Simon? When you looking back on yourself a few years back, what was really kind of the impetus that kind of made you say, I really need to do an MBA to really take the next step? What were some things that were going through your mind?
So I think over the years, my reasoning actually changed. Initially, I think I wanted to do it for, everyone was doing it. We should all do an MBA. It sounded cool. It sounded great. It was an accomplishment of its own. But I think as I experienced through my work, I think my reasons changed because I realized I was reaching some sort of a ceiling of learning. I wasn't able to put in enough time to really learn deeper into the subjects that mattered to me. So the MBA became like a natural choice where I did get the time and the priority to go deeper into topics, to really think outside the box, because as an entrepreneur or an owner or a manager, whatever your leadership role may be, ultimately you need to kind of pull back and look at a macro perspective, and you need that kind of space to think. So I think the course really helps you broaden your thought process as well.
Thank you. Sarvi, what about your experiences before you entered the MBA? What was kind of that epiphany that said, I really need to go back to school to really advance my career and develop both professionally and also maybe transform a little more personally?
Yeah, for sure. So it's interesting, when I finished engineering school, a lot of my friends, they went immediately after and studied their MBAs. And I remember at that time, I was really against it. I said, there is no way I will do an MBA, and I want to go work, and this is it. I've done my education. I'm not going back to school. But once I started working for a number of years, and it was at the time that I was working in banking and in the technology side there, there was this craving for me to just get exposed to different mentality and mindsets. Because to me, when you work at any company for a long period of time, after a while, it's natural that everyone starts to think the same way. And I think there is just so much power in getting exposure to diversity of thought. And especially what really Imperial gave me was a global network, and being able to hear thoughts on how someone else in Africa and Asia, they think about a problem and what are the challenges that their businesses face. So for me, that one was like the main reason that I went. I was born in the Middle East, and I spent most of my life in North America and Canada. So for me, the reason I picked the school in Europe specifically was I traveled in Europe a lot, and I have a lot of friends there. I always appreciated the culture, and I thought, if there is a way for me to, in a rather short period of time of 2 years, get exposure to the European market while having the advantage of a global perspective, probably this is the best time for me. And I think that was kind of my mentality and my reason of going and starting MBA. And I can tell you, Jeff, I got so much more out of it, which I'm pretty sure everyone on this call can agree. I think you go into your MBA, you think, okay, I will get some new perspective. It will be also good times. And I might get a promotion at the end of this thing because now I have a better degree. But to me, the biggest impact for me was actually a few things. One, the great network of friends that I made, that I miss them dearly because we haven't been able to see each other and have our graduation because of COVID. But also just, I learned so much about myself, and I learned so much of how capable I am, because it's really, really hard to do a part-time school and also be full-time at work, and everyone have personal commitments as well. So to me, it's just the test of, I felt really good after knowing that I can do this. If tomorrow I decide to go and get another job or like add to my responsibility to my plates, I've already been tested and know how to do this.
Thank you very much.
Jeff,
I
do you
did
mind
make
if
a
I
mistake.
jump in? I think maybe you haven't seen me. I'm here
Right,
from
I was
UCL.
just getting, I was ready to ask about you. You from the University of
Sorry, I
Central
feel like
London.
No, that's fine. I don't know if you saw, I sort of came in just on time. So I just wanted to say hi.
I apologize. I was wondering if maybe, you have such a varied background as well. Award-winning designer, and from the University UCL. I wonder maybe you could give our audience a little bit of background about yourself as far as what you do, and also just briefly give us a fun fact about yourself we may not know.
Yeah, so I'm from Canada actually, but I've been in London for almost 10 years. So I studied oil painting. So I did a fine art degree at Queen's University, then came to London and studied architectural interior design, then worked in the sort of super luxury world on yachts and things in London and all around the world. Moved into access consultancy, so started to work with big global brands on how to design for sort of cognitive differences, neurodiversity, physical differences, and at the same time started the UCL MBA with the idea of starting my own design studio. And that was during lockdown. So with the support of the MBA, during lockdown, I launched my own company with a real focus on designing for well-being. So sort of bringing together my background in interior design with the access consultancy work. So that's what I'm doing right now. So Beacon actually is just about 1 year old. So yeah, 1 year of having my own studio.
What's something somebody wouldn't know about you if they Googled you?
Oh, I mean, I'm very creative. I'm really into dancing right now. And I'm really into Gaga dance. Definitely worth Googling Gaga dancing.
Okay.
But yeah, that's probably one of the fun facts about me.
Let's explore this a little further. You as I said, you have a very versatile background, bridging both business and the creatives. What led you to decide to pursue an MBA at this point? Because you were previously a designer, then you were kind of progressing up, and then you decided to start your own operation. What were some of the things that led you to pursue an MBA?
I think I felt so passionate about wanting to start my own design studio and to do it differently. The industry in London can be kind of detrimental to your own well-being. So I really wanted to have a positive impact on designers, as well as the projects we created. And I know how to design. I've done all sorts of projects, even sort of palaces and things. So wasn't really afraid of that, but I didn't have the sort of business skills or the confidence in terms of setting up the architecture of a business, the sort of finances, the advertising, the strategy. And so that's what really inspired me to do an MBA, was to understand business and have the confidence to sort of execute that.
Thank you. Let's talk a little bit about the learning experience that you've enjoyed as an MBA, and then we'll talk a little bit about both the online format and some of the advantages. When you look at some of the learning that you engaged in, talk us a little bit about maybe a day in the life of an online MBA student. Justine, what are some of the things that you experience at ESMT Berlin?
Sure. So my day starts looking at my phone and looking at all the WhatsApp messages from my classmates that were coming through the night. Checking in with the ESMT Berlin. That means, yes, I'm doing MBA. So that's how my morning starts. Well, we have a really interesting and a great hub on ESMT Berlin, where we have different modules, and then we have different weeks, and then we have different articles to read. We have a lot of discussions, a lot of threads that you read what your classmates have written and respond to them. There are a lot of different mediums as well. What I like about ESMT Berlin, that we learn from articles, but as well as videos. We also get some feedback from professors. We have some live sessions, so it is a full-on. I do study, try to study every day, so there is no day that I am without MBA. It's just, as I said earlier, it's part of my life. We do attend teaching assistant sessions as well, which are not compulsory, but it's really, it adds a good value on your learning experience. And we do have also some socials. We started organizing some socials once in 2 weeks. So it's really great to always keep in touch with classmates as well, because that's, you need that. Because we are doing online, it's really important to have that personal connection, which we are building really nicely, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Simon, you're at IE Business School, one of the top institutions in Europe, if not the world. Talk about the academic experience as far as, what is the academic load like? How easily are you able to how easily are online MBA students able to handle that, particularly busy professionals like yourself?
So as Justina was talking, I resonated to everything she said. The day starts with looking at WhatsApp messages, catching up. And I distinctly remember during our orientation at the beginning of the course, our program director did say that, you will not have any other life left outside of work in your MBA. And she was not wrong. It does take up a lot of time. But one thing also that she did mention is that over the course of the program, the only thing that you get better at, if nothing else, is time management. The program is demanding. I'm not going to disagree. I think there's this old school taboo towards online or hybrid style of learning, which the institutes that are present in this call and many others are breaking those barriers. Now, learning is not limited to just a classroom, and I think IE has, the program that I've been doing has proven that I really do feel like I went through a full-time MBA program along with my work and the rest of my life. So it does have its challenges, but at the end of it, I think it adds so much value and so much diversity, so much depth in conversation and learnings from each other. I think the bottom line is that peer learning, which is quite big in the education field as well, where you're not just learning from said professor, but you are learning from your classmates. So looking at who your classmates are adds equal value to when you're trying to choose which class or which school you're going to as well.
Saima, you brought up something I just wanted to explore just a little bit more in depth. You talked a little bit about diversity. Talk a little bit about the teams that you've worked with and maybe kind of how their different backgrounds and also their different approaches in industries really enabled you to really gain a lot in your professional life.
So I've grown up around diversity. So it wasn't absolutely new, but it was new in terms of needing to communicate effectively virtually. I think that was a bigger challenge because a lot can be missed in translation or tonality during a text. So the course was actually pretty good in setting up our work groups on their own, and they were insistent on not keeping people of the same regions together, which meant there was no way or less chances of someone from my region was in my work group, which meant I was exposed to a lot more different ideas. So it did take a couple of weeks to get acquainted with classmates, some quarrels perhaps, which is natural, some misunderstandings, adjusting to each other, understanding what the work ethic is of each person as well, understanding each other's priorities. And I think that goes with any relationship building, regardless of whether it's in an MBA or like a workplace as well. So I think diversity, I think everyone needs to be more cautious, more aware, more understanding when it comes to a large group of people coming together, and give people space.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sarvi, talk to us, you're at Imperial College, a program known for extremely strong faculty and also a very deeply rooted focus on STEM that extends into the business school. Talk to us a little bit about the faculty and how you were able to interact with them and, the teaching experience that you enjoyed.
Yeah, for sure. The faculty at Imperial, I feel I've been very lucky to be able to go to a school with such amazing faculty that to this day after graduation, we're still in touch with them. And I still reach out if there is a business challenge that I know a certain professor in marketing, for example, can help me. I think even though the program, as Justina and Saima was saying, even though our program was online, I never felt that I don't have access to the faculty, whether it was through, same as your school, Justina, we also have a hub that through that we get all of our coursework and interaction. I would say, given the fact that we were in different time zones, like me in Canada and most of the faculty are in UK, the response was almost real time. We had our live sessions, and I got to actually meet our faculty a couple of times. So at the beginning of the program, we have a 1 week that we spend in the class together, all of us. And then at the end of the program, there's almost about a 2 weeks period that we work on a project with our faculty. And I honestly felt so privileged to be able to get access to these amazing faculty and all the staff at Imperial. And I mean, the way that they think about business problems, the way that they guided us into the right direction, and it completely changed the way that I solve problems right now within the context of my own team at work. There was also different opportunities. So I was lucky that I was selected to participate in a World Government Summit in Dubai a couple of years ago. I think it was in my second year of my MBA, which they have some of the leading business schools. They go for a number of days and they work on a problem. And Imperial had a team. So I got to really interact closely with, at the time, our program director. Even to this day, there are alumni events happening and there are lectures, and so I try to join those, but I can't wait to go back and meet them again.
Thank you. Ren, you come from a stronger liberal arts background, and I do too. And sometimes when I talk to MBA applicants, they say that one of the things that scares them is that they may not be able to handle the quant aspect of the program, the hard-edged finance. Supply chain tends to bedevil people a bit as well. Talk to me about your transition and being able to really adapt and excel in some of the quant coursework, and even marketing and analytics has become this way. Enabled you to really excel in these areas and really kind of demystify them, and they made them a lot less intimidating.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's why I wanted to do an MBA as well, is to learn that sort of side of it. So, for example, the accounting for managers module has been super helpful. It's hard, because I haven't done math since high school. So, it's definitely hard work. But I love the fact that the lectures are recorded. I can rewatch them. I can go back to them. My professors are there to help me if I've got any questions. So yeah, I'd say if someone's interested in an MBA with a very creative background, they should definitely go for it and not be intimidated, as long as they're willing to sort of stretch themselves and learn. And if I'm doing a more, math-based module, for sure I need to allocate more time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let me dig deeper into something you've talked about, Ren. Sometimes when you're in an online MBA, people who haven't done it think, oh my gosh, I'm out on my own. One of the real strengths in online MBA programs that I've seen is schools put a tremendous amount of resources into support. Sorry, you talked about faculty always being there. There's career services. What are the types of support that you received at your school and that really enabled you to excel in the program?
Was that directed towards me?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ren.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all of my professors have given me one-on-one time, actually, to talk about my company. So, that's been incredible. Whether it's talking about the strategy that I'm taking or literally looking at my P&L sheets and helping me sort of work them out and do some budgets. There's also, I'm trying to think of the name of it, but basically mentoring. So Eugene Walker hugely supported me in terms of one-on-one mentoring through the MBA, setting up my company, helping me sort of, make a plan. I just say that there's so much support from the teachers, the professors, the team, the admin team. Basically, if I've got a question or I need support, I get it right away, which is phenomenal.
How about you, Sarvi? What types of support did you receive, whether it was, coaching, even technical support on occasion? Some online MBAs are worried that, oh my gosh, if something doesn't work, I'm in deep trouble. What types of support did you enjoy as an online MBA?
Yeah, so I think in terms of the coaching, as you mentioned, all of the schools, Imperial, same as them, we have career services. So at the beginning of the program, there are a number of assessment and different tests as part of the first week that we are on campus. We do, which really try to understand more of our personality, our leadership style, and then based on that, then we get assigned a coach. I had an amazing coach that I'm still in touch with him. And the idea behind that coach, initially, I thought is more for in terms of navigating the career and if people want to transition to a different job, which at the time I wasn't really thinking about it. And I had a strong enough network that I said, well, I can actually do that on my own. But it ended up becoming so much more than that. And my coach, Ayo, he helped me a lot in terms of how to have a difficult conversation with my team. And I think that's one of the other advantages of doing an MBA part-time while you're working, because I would go back to work and there are some business challenges coming up. It was the first time when I started my MBA, it was the first time that I took the leadership of a whole department across 3 different offices. So that was new to me. And I had to make some tough decision with my team. So I would bring those problems back to my coach, and he would help me in terms of how to have that conversation in the best way possible. And it's a lot of different things. I mean, if you need help with your resume, your CV, then the career services is there to help you. In terms of the technology and navigating all the issues that might happen, that's especially because some of our classes, so for each live session, we had 2 sessions. You could either join the morning one or the afternoon one. For me, the afternoon Eastern time, it would have been 1 p.m. when I'm at work and in meetings. So I would attend the morning, which for me was 5 a.m. Eastern time, which I learned a trick. I rewarded myself with a pancake 10 minutes to 5 so that I wake up for it. But during those times, first of all, we had our WhatsApp group. So there was always someone on the other end, whether it's in Asia, Africa, Middle East, that can help and say, hey, is this a problem happening? But also for all of those sessions, we had access to someone on the technology side, that the team that they built, the hub that we were using. And it was never an issue for me in 2 years that I don't have access to the hub, or it's something that sudden happens that I can't figure it out.
Thank you. Simon, Sophie brought up a great point about the ability to bring in what you learned immediately into your job, being able to apply it and bringing immediate value to your degree and bringing greater value to your company. And also, showing your bosses that, hey, not only are you capable of more than maybe they knew, but that you're advancing yourself and developing yourself, and it's really helping the organization. Can you give us an example of something that you learned at IE that you were immediately able to apply that enabled you to, I guess, generate results and also get some kudos?
There are honestly so many things that I learned. I wouldn't pick one, but I will highlight that learning and working at the same time, honestly, I think this is the best matrix, because as Sarvi said, you can instantly apply, you learn better this way as well. And so many times I felt where I've learned something, it might be processing with me for some time, and I find that problem somehow arises at work, even if it wasn't there when I learned it initially. Maybe we end up attracting those kind of concerns. But you become a lot more prepared toward dealing with it. I think something that it was not my strongest suit was towards finance, understanding investment ratios, understanding shareholder value, stakeholder analysis, and going deeper into return on the investments was a critical aspect, because I was able to reevaluate the returns that we had initially projected versus what I think needed to go, the direction it needed to be guided towards. Because at the end of the day, it's a framework that we create as a company that needs to follow through. So I think that was one of the key highlights. Looked a lot at cost efficiencies as well when it came from digitalization and the operational efficiencies and marketing, and there's so many things really. I think in each aspect, I learned something new that I could immediately apply.
Cool. Justina, it's not just taking those lessons and applying them to work, from the classes that you benefit from. You also have access to some great students and peers, and also alumni. Talk to us maybe a little bit about how they were able to help you in various business situations in your role and created value for you beyond maybe what you expected.
Sure. So one of the best things, I guess, from learning is that we don't just learn during our MBA, but we'll do learn from our classmates and, like you said, alumni. And I definitely feel that. I feel, a few things. So first, I learn as we interact during our threads, answering the questions. It's very interesting to see different perspectives. We are such an international group. We are very culturally diverse.
Definitely do.
So it's very interesting to see different perspectives. So I've already learned so much just by being there and having so many great colleagues, not colleagues, classmates of mine. And also I'm still quite new in my MBA journey, but I have already also connected with some alumni from ESMT Berlin, and it's always the same answer. They all say, if you need anything, if you have any questions, we are here for you. And I definitely get that feeling from ESMT Berlin and from all the classmates that I am surrounded.
Thank you. One thing that's for MBA applicants, they wonder about is work-life balance. How do I be a good husband or wife? How do I stay being a good parent? How do I stay in touch with my friends? How do I still pursue my hobbies? And of course, how the heck do I get my work done that was already working 50, 60 hours a week? I want each of you share with me one best practice that you had that enabled you to get the most out of the program, but also maintain your responsibilities and still maintain a high quality of life? I'm going to let whoever wants to jump in speak first.
I can go.
Okay.
Actually, this was a conversation I had with my classmates at the beginning of the program as well, as we all discovered the demands of the course. And something that I applied throughout was I broke down my life in a way into time chunks.
Okay.
So I have a lot of responsibilities. So what I did is I separated them. And instead of trying to do, especially the MBA in one sitting, for example, I broke it down into different hours of the day. Similarly to Justina and Sarvi as well, we had these discussions and these forums that go on at different times. And you have to say the smartest thing that you can to contribute. So, I mean, sometimes 7 a.m. is your smartest moment. Sometimes it could be a 7 p.m. time when you're giving your smartest post. And it gave me that opportunity to kind of be flexible for when I feel my best to be able to contribute and the readings and so on, instead of putting in a lot of pressure in one time, 3 to 4 hours that I need to put in per day. So that's what worked for me.
Another best practice for work-life balance.
I'm happy to go next. I wouldn't say there's one thing, but I would say at the beginning of the program and when you decide to do your MBA, there is no way of doing this thing without prioritization. The whole idea of you can still do everything else that you've been doing before and also doing this program and really get the most out of it is completely false. You can't do that. But I think what's important is never really forget the reason that you came and you started this program, and never forget how privileged you are if you are in one of these amazing schools and having this opportunity to do that. So for me, I always kept that in mind of why I'm doing this. I prioritized. So for me, it was Friday night was the only night that I was actually going out. I allowed myself that, the Friday night. And aside from that, Saturday and Sundays, I had I think maybe the first thing is physically stay active, and whatever brings you joy, just do that. For me, cycling and spinning has always been my thing. Ren, same as you, I'm into dancing. I'm probably not as good as it, but those are the things that brought me joy. So if it was seeing a friend and going to my dance class or my spin class, I would do those physical activities because I knew I need that strength to be able to do this program and do all of the responsibilities I have. And then the last thing is just have rewards for yourself. You know, for me, I was lucky enough that I managed my schedule in a way that every 3-4 months, I still went to London just to see friends and have some exposure to school. And that was the time for me. I knew every quarter, if I'm not in Toronto going out as much, when I go to London, I get to go to the best restaurant and see all these amazing people and go to all the British pubs that I miss so much now. But yeah, just be kind to yourself and just stay focused on what's important to you.
Any other practices for work-life balance?
I think it's something I'm still working on, but having 2 phones helped me a lot, which is a big change that I did this year because I get constant messages through the MBA clients, and I realized how sort of sacred and important time off is. So if I'm going for a walk to clear my head, I really need to drop out. I can't still be receiving calls from people, even if I don't answer them. They're reminders of work. So, you know, having a very private phone, you know, the ability to just say, I'm going to take an hour and I'm not going to do work or anything. I found that very helpful and very energizing. So, you know, really creating some good boundaries.
Thank you very much. We have about 5 minutes here. I guess I would like to turn this over to each of you. Tell our audience if there's the one thing they need to know about an online MBA, and you've given a lot of them already, but if you had to give one biggest lesson that you gained from an online MBA that would help people when they first start or as they go through the program, what would it be? I'll open the floor.
right? I'll go.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I would say just before doing like applying for MBA, just believe in yourself, because well, we are here surrounded by females, by women, and I guess it's also for women, it's a really big thing, isn't it, to go for it and do it and have belief in oneself. But the same applies for men as well. So just have that belief, be prepared, know that it is MBA. Like, this is what I keep on reminding myself. It is MBA. It will be hard work. If it was easy, everybody would do it. So just go there, be prepared, be excited, and enjoy it.
Simon, you've been kind of quiet lately. What about you? What would be one thing that you would tell a prospective applicant to really help them maybe make a mistake or avoid a regret that maybe you had?
Honestly, I think knowing why you're doing this is kind of what Sarvi also highlighted. Your why makes a big difference to keep you on track. Like most things in life, if you're going to be dedicated towards a diet, you got to know why you're doing it to pull through. And similarly in MBA as well, anything that requires your commitment for a long period of time, you got to have your why or your motivation in place. When it comes to mistakes, I think if I was able to be more efficient with my time in the initial days, I probably would have had fewer hair pulling times. Meeting deadlines and the stress of everything can be a little challenging and overwhelming in the beginning. But I think by going through that as well, you kind of figure out what's your own best practice. For example, now if I have a deadline, I'm easily doing it 2 weeks in advance, if I get that much notice, versus waiting till more of the last minute. So yeah, definitely don't leave things to last minute. With an MBA, that does not work. You cannot wing your way through ideas and thoughts. You will have to structure them. You have to go through, process it, think it through.
Sarvi, we got about 2 minutes left. Any last thoughts as far as how you could help a future applicant?
Yeah, I would say you're a lot more capable than what you think. Don't underestimate yourself. And if you're lucky enough to get to one of these amazing schools, savor every moment of it, because as much as it was hard, I really miss it. So good luck.
Thank you. Ren, last word.
I mean, I sort of agree with what everyone said. And I think just try to have fun with the MBA. You know, it's hard work, but it can be very enjoyable and rewarding.
So we got 2 minutes here. What was the most fun you had in business school? What if anybody want to give an event that they look back on fondly? They go, that was the best time at business school.
I'll add one little snippet. Filming some of our video presentations was some of the funniest times, trying to coordinate, get matching backgrounds, getting everyone's schedules in. We had a big laugh, and posing to be all these different personalities for our case studies was really fun to do.
Any other events that you look back on fondly, memories?
I think for me, every time, especially the last 2 weeks that we had, oh God, at this point, 2 years ago in September, and be in class with everyone, and then afterwards all socialize and just see London and do different things. It was amazing. Let's just say I saw a lot of really, really interesting dance moves from my classmates.
Oh boy, that is something I've heard people when the guard goes down and maybe the blood alcohol level goes up. Those are the things people remember, at least the people who don't drink it. So thank you. Any last parting words?
Just go for it.
Just go for it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all of you. And again, I apologize, Ren, I did not see you on there. So it's been a real pleasure, and it was very insightful. And thank you very much for spending for the time that you've spent with us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
Thank you.
you.